Hello. Yep, it's me again. I had some things coming to me this week about some children that are being afflicted by some things that are harassing them in their home. I won't say who they are or nothing, because it's not anything people need to know. But people do need to know that when you're fooling with things, that you can create portals. And what I mean by portals is basically a gateway, a gate. Things come and go from it. In the Bible, in Revelations, it speaks of the 12 gates, and different things. And a gate is basically a portal. It's a way they come into a place or leave. I was trying to figure out a way to explain that, and of course my daddy helped me out a lot with that. He says, going through your door is sort of like, coming to your house and knocking on the door is going through, in terms of portal, into the person's home. That's the doorway into the home and a doorway out. I was like, well, that's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to explain it. It's just a door. And I told him I had been looking, and the only thing I got was the gates, through the Bible. And I know the gates, are ways in and out. And he says yes. And he says, but Enoch, but a lot of people know, I have the books of Enoch. I've read it. It's very, very detailed. Very detailed. And it can bore you to death. But he speaks in Enoch about the different portals and how the angels, were cast down and different things. But in our King James Version Bible, Enoch is spoken in Deuteronomy, Acts, and Hebrew. I don't know if there's any other place in there. I think the final chapter was, God took him up. I think Enoch was one of the ones that did not die. God just took him. That's pretty interesting. But in the books of Enoch, it explains in very good detail about the portals where angels come and go, and the demons come and go. And it also speaks of the rivers of souls and different things. And a lot of people don't realize that when they're fooling with tarot cards, Ouija boards, just anything, they're opening a portal, allowing something to come in. At first it's all fun and games. They think it's just a game, it's a toy, it's not going to hurt anybody. And then it gets dark. And then it comes at them, and they don't understand why it's doing this. Why is it happening? This was just a game. Well, it's not. If you are doing anything in any level of speaking to a spiritual realm, if I was just to take this piece of paper, write on it, asking questions, and them relaying answers, back to me with this piece of paper more or less turns into a gateway / portal. And because it's a communication device between the two worlds. I always avoid that. I don't need to know a lot of that stuff on that part. I don't ask questions. That's a lot of people get after me because they'll say, well, who is it? What is it? I said, I don't know. I didn't ask. They're here. They're bugging me. I told them to leave. I'm bad about that. But a lot of things, if it is of light, and I know that it is from God, and it's something that I can see that is from Him, and when I pray, and I say, if this is from you, then show me the truth of it, and I see the truth of it, then I ask, okay, who, what, when, where, why? I ask the questions. But if I see them in blackness or dark grays, I don't need to know what they're there for, because all I'm going to get is a lie. A lot of people disagree with that, but that's the truth of it. If they're there to benefit themselves. and gain power. But this child I'm helping, I believe that the portal was opened into the home, and now they're hearing things and are panicked and having the terrors and different things that we never want our children to go through. And it may not be because of the family that was there now. It could be because of a previous tenant that was in the home that liked to do that stuff. Well, in finding these items that they used, they are not to burn them in the house. Because when you burn stuff that you use, like this paper, if I was to burn it, I'm doing this and I'm using this and I burn it in the house, I release whatever was attached to that thing that came through that is released into the home, and it's harder to get rid of. I take the object outside the home, I pray over it and salt it, and I either put it in the ground or you burn it there outside the home, away from the property, and ask God to bind it, not for it to come back. But that's, like I said, all the time, a lot of people do it differently. This is what I do. But this poor child needs help, and he needs prayer. And trying to get the parents to understand, when they allow their kids to bring this stuff into their home, they are just wanting something. They may not want it, but it's going to happen. Something from that is going to come into the house and it's going to start tormenting their child. And then it's going to start working on the family. It always goes to the weakest person in the home or the most innocent. They love the innocent because the innocent does not know what's going on, and they're easily convinced that it is a playmate or a family member that has come in and played, and it gets them to doing stuff that isn't kosher or right, and then people are like, well, I don't understand. It was just a family member that had passed, No. When it's coming to your child like that, and you never open the doorway for that to come in, because then it settles and stays. You want to, I will see it. Sometimes I acknowledge it. But if it is not of God, I just ask it to go, because I don't need to hear what it has to say to me. If it's a family member, I hear things every now and then. They come to me, but that doesn't mean I communicate with them. I hear it and I let it go. As I said, a lot of people do it differently. If it's important enough, I will pray, and I will call that family member that their loved one had passed that came to me, and I will say, what are you doing? Stop it. But I don't always go in and acknowledge that their loved one had came to me, because I don't want them focusing on that. Loved ones come and go. They don't stay stuck with us, especially the ones that are saved and in paradise. That's the thing. The ones that are not saved are stuck, and all they've got to do is sit and just tell you how to do things. I know that one from experience. But please, don't get the Ouija boards, the tarot cards, the little games that you think that is nothing, because those things are very real. It is also spoken illy of in the Bible, if I said that correctly. We are not supposed to be playing with things of that nature. And But that's why a lot of people start coming to me, needing to know how to shut these portals. The portal can be stifled for a little while, but it always opens back up. It stays in that space. It will always stay in that space. It does not move. You can try to move it. You can do your ritual, your prayer, you do everything, but all it does is slap a band-aid on that sucker, and it stays slapped with a band-aid on it until somebody else comes into the home. You move furniture around, you put in a new door. I know somebody who put in a new door and the portal opened, so it happens. And just moving furniture around, it opens it up. And I go back and we'll pray and close it again. So it's always able to be reopened. I feel like I'm reprimanding people instead of explaining. But just be aware of what your children are getting into. It might seem like fun and games, but it is not. And our children are struggling with this stuff. And this stuff does not like children. It likes to toy with them. And it eventually, it takes your child from you because it puts bad thoughts in their head. All it wants to do is destroy, bring chaos in the home, and then kill. Because when you die, it gives it power. Because it takes you then, because you didn't have God in you, it will take you. And you belong to it forever. A lot of people don't think of that. So, stay strong. Stay focused on our God, Jesus, because Jesus trumps all. He said he will not forsake us and he will always be with us. And all we have to do is call upon him. And he will give us peace. Things might hurt our body, but they can't hurt the soul. God bless you and stay strong.